Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Thank you for stopping by today. It's getting to be that time of year where maybe you're a person like me who starts thinking about New Year's resolutions, and I had an idea for one I thought would be really healthy. I'm not talking about eating less after 9 p.m. or getting on the treadmill more often or even trying to be a better listener, but I did think that if you are divorced and you have an ex, creating a healthy relationship with that person, if you haven't had one before, would be a really great gift to everybody involved. And if you already have that kind of a relationship and you have children, kudos to you. Your kids are lucky to have parents who were able to do that for themselves and for the kids. But not everybody has it that easy. I had some ideas, some tips, some tricks on how to maybe make that work in your situation. If that's at all interesting, stick around because that's what we're talking about today. I had a screening call 2 weeks ago with a fella, and he was explaining to me some of his family dynamics. It was not a client. I was screening him for my client. And he said, I think somebody needs to maybe understand that my ex is part of my family. So she will always be around with my kids, and I don't consider her my ex so much as a friend, and not even so much a friend as a family member. And I could relate to that because I remember telling my children when their dad and I got divorced that we may be in a different format. There may be other people that come into the situation, but the four of us will always be a family, even if we aren't living together. And I give my ex a lot of credit for being able to make that happen along with me, being open to that idea. And it takes work, of course, especially if there's feelings that you have to work around to get to that point. But this fella kind of made me feel like I thought that was just super cool that he did that, and I realized everybody I talked to throughout the week doesn't have that situation, and instead of sharing it with them one-off on each conversation, I would make this episode and share it with you, and then I can always point them to it as well if it's something they're interested in. As you can imagine, I talk to dozens of people every week. A lot of them are people who are divorced. We talk a little bit about their past relationship, and one of the things people say they want in a partner who is, if the partner is divorced, is that there's no drama. They always want to say, if they have, I'll date somebody with children, but it's more important to me, not the ages of their kids, but that there's no drama between the two parents of those children. So exes come up quite often in my screening conversations, and I think it is really a gift if you can have a healthy, good, easy-going relationship with an ex. I want to say that I know for some people that's not an option, and when that's not an option, you know it, and I'm not referring to your situation. But if you happen to be a person who this will work into your relationship, that you can make strides to be more family-like, more friendly, and have this other person be a part of your life, and especially your kids' lives, it's worth talking about. I think number one, I want to point out that having an ex in your life, to still be able to share parts of your life with somebody who was a part of your life for a long time, and because they are your children's parent, is a choice. That doesn't just happen for most people. They have to make an effort, a choice to make that a possibility and to make that work. And if it's a choice you're willing to make, then you should know it comes with a few jobs and a few adjustments to the way you look at things. And that's what I think we'll talk about now, some of those adjustments, the ways of looking at things. I know some people split up because they just felt they grew in different directions or don't have something in common, and that's going to be easier. But if you are a person who is no longer in a marriage because there was anger, there was bitterness, there was resentment, then you are certainly going to have to make even more adjustments, make an even stronger choice to be able to rise above those things and overcome that, to overshadow those things and find the positives. My phone rang and I lost my place, but I think where I want to pick it up is to say that it's easier to make that choice and to rise above if you are able to think that this isn't as much about you and the partner anymore once you've brought children into the family, into the world. So if you can look at it as doing something, a gift, a New Year's gift for your children to make this a happy situation so everybody can get along, I think that might make things a little bit easier. It's easier to do things for our kids often than it is even for ourselves, let alone for somebody we're no longer married to. I think for some people, they know when they are splitting up based on these conversations and my own divorce, that no matter what, the kids are going to come first. And children want people to get along. They want the two parents they love to be on the same team. They want those people to still be part of their family. They don't want to be in the middle. They don't want to be forced to make choices or choose one over the other. So if you can manage this and make that other person someone you get along with, this is an incredible gift to your children and to your future grandchildren even, to have well-adjusted children who see that as an example. I mean, it's an amazing gift that you can give to kids. And I can't stress that more heartily. One of the tips I would have would be to, of course, always look for the positive. And one of those might be, and this is a little strange perhaps, but to count your blessings, but in a slightly different way. Count your blessings that you're going to allow this person to be a part of yours and your children's lives, but you don't have to be with this person 24/7. So you're almost saying to yourself, I'm lucky that I only have to deal with you part of the time. And I think that is something to be, if you're looking to stretch that, something to be grateful for. The gratitude comes in the fact that you are no longer have to be married to, sharing your entire life with this person, but able to find a place to let them in, to be a part of the family, to be somebody you get along with for your own sake, for their sake, and your kids, of course. You know, I know that one of the marriage counseling workshop things is to take a trip down memory lane, to remember the reasons you chose this person in the first place. I know they sometimes recommend that people look through old photographs to reconnect with the feelings you had for this person a long time ago in order to get back on track, remembering the things, the reasons you fell in love with this person. And I think now might be a great way to do that, not in order to fall in love with this person again, but to remember why you liked this person and why you chose them in the first place to have a family with them. And connecting with those old feelings by looking through pictures or videos might really kind of just spark something to make you feel less of those negative feelings you might typically feel towards this person and allow you to let this person in a different capacity. Next up, you don't have to forgive this person for anything they did wrong. You don't have to forget the reasons that you split up with them. All you're really looking to do if you want this to work is to be present with that person, not thinking about the past, not worrying about what they're going to live up to or promises not kept in the future, but accepting them in the moment to be exactly who they are and what they need to be for your kids. You know, if you don't have expectations of people, you're never disappointed. If you're not holding on to resentments from years ago, there's no reason to feel anything at all, really, in this moment. And I'm not even saying you have to have this person in your life as part of your family. I mean, I was able to do that. We've had holiday dinners where my ex and my ex-husband were both there at the same table, and we were able to all get along and interact as a family would. But I know that's not for everybody. There were no hard feelings in this relationship. There aren't in any of my past relationships hard feelings. So it's easy to maintain an easy, casual communication with those people And especially with my kid's dad, I think he's a great person. He's just not a person I want to be married to. So if you have that kind of a situation, you can take that a step more to including this person in your children's birthdays or visiting children at college and those types of things that I think made a really nice situation for our kids to not have to this weekend with mom, this weekend with dad. We could all show up at the same time on the actual parents' weekend and get along nicely. And I think that was really kind of a great gift for the kids. So if you can pull that off, just be present in the moment without expectations and without dredging up the past. It's really cool. Next up, I was thinking that if you're really far from having this situation, like you're coming from a place of with a big separation between you and having this type of a relationship, what I would do personally and what I might recommend to clients is that they write a letter with what they would hope for and how they're feeling now, and that they do maybe want to just let go of the past, not have expectations, but for the sake of the family, for the children, if we can just get along so that we could be there together. You know, I remember the kids saying, or maybe it wasn't even my kids, somebody's kids saying, it's just a different way of looking at the future. I always pictured that I would bring my own kids home to my parents together. And so I want my kids to be able to bring their future kids home to their parents, and I will have my ex and whoever he's with at my home so that we can all share in grandchildren together. That's for my children, I would do that. And if you're nowhere near ready to get to that point, sharing your feelings and the fact that you would want that for your children and appealing to your ex saying, would you want that for our children? Do you think this is something we could be together on and give as a gift to our family to have somewhat of a united front, share some of the big moments together, still all of us in the same room? Maybe that letter would get through, whereas I know for some people it's harder to voice those feelings face to face with somebody. So maybe think about writing a letter. The other option, if you are not a letter writer, would be to get together with your ex and have a conversation over coffee. Let them know you wanted to talk about a family matter. Get together and say that you were thinking that you really wanted to give the children the gift of having a family that gets along, that can spend time together and support the kids as a parental unit, and see where that leads you. And I think here is where I would like to say that maybe you need to give credit where credit is due. If this person is being a good parent on their own without you, to give them that props there and say, you've been doing a great job being a dad to the kids or a mom to the kids, and I really appreciate that. And I thought maybe that we could do that in a slightly different way together to present to the children as a little bit more of a team. Now I get it, if this person isn't doing a great job of being a parent, maybe this isn't going to work at all. But if this person is parenting your children, but just separately, how much of a stretch is it if you can do all these prior steps to come together and be able to share things with your kids as a family, or at least as two parents in the same room experiencing the same thing at the same time? And then finally, I think the thing to keep in mind is that you sort of have to look for the positives. You have to find where this, not necessarily in this person, their positives, but seeing what the positive could be in all the relationships together that you have between you and your kids, and you and the other kid, and you and your ex and this kid, the whole different relationship values and how that could all work out a little differently, a little bit better. And if you can see the positives in that situation, it's worth going through some uncomfortable moments to get to that point. I think, in my opinion, in my experience, that's been the case. And you, of course, have to decide for yourself. And I will just end this episode by saying you have to choose tolerance. And you don't have to create, gold out of straw in the situation and for it to be remarkable and fantastic and the best co-parenting and getting along with your ex that anyone's ever had. But if you can find the tolerance and if you can find positivity in these situations and know that it's for the greater good, you may feel it's a worthwhile endeavor and worth achieving in the long run. And I think in a lot of circumstances, people who don't have that situation could achieve it if they wanted to, and that would be a positive. I would love to hear what you think about this conversation and whether you think it would be a worthwhile investment of time and effort and positivity to have a good relationship with your ex. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments section below. I would love to hear from you. While you're there, maybe subscribe to my channel, even hit that ring bell, then you're notified every time I upload a new episode, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, have a good one. Option if you're not a letter. The other option if you're not a letter writer.